Welcome back to the Unstuck movement. I am your host, Rob Z. These are true testimonies of breakthrough. Today, I have the amazing and incredible Rachel Wayte on the podcast with us. Rachel, I like to dive right into these episodes with a powerful question to get right to the heart of the matter. We hear about people wanting to be their authentic self so much these days, but I think the word authenticity kind of gets lost in its true meaning. How does someone know that they are truly being authentic?
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here, Rob. Thanks for inviting me. What a powerful question. How does someone know if they're being authentic? For me, I think you feel it. And that might sound like really simple, but for me, I recognize when I wasn't being, to tell you how I could tell when I wasn't being authentic, maybe that will help. When I wasn't being authentic, I was turning up and I was doing things to please others. I was doing things that were against what my gut was telling me to do. I was doing it anyway. I was doing things that were out of alignment. So I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't really like sharing what I felt was my truth. And in all of that, I felt frustrated. I felt stuck. I felt lost. And that was me sort of like, I would say, out of my authenticity because I wasn't feeling whole and I wasn't feeling complete. I feel much more now that I'm in my authenticity because I feel free to speak and share what I want to say. I'm not trying to prove anything to someone else. I'm not trying to prove my worth. I'm not trying to prove my value. I'm not pretending. I'm not trying to mask myself and be something in order to please others. Like I said before, it's like this, you feel this sense of freedom within you because you show up and you're not scared to be who you are and show yourself to the world. And sometimes you realize you're in your authenticity because you will trigger people because you're being yourself, and you'll notice that sometimes repels people because you're being yourself, and they find that difficult.
Wow, that's a really good way of saying that. Yeah, whenever you are being your authentic self, you might trigger people because you're really truly being you and you're not trying to cater to who you feel like they need you to be so they feel okay when you're around them.
100% precisely that. Yes.
That is a really good way of putting that. So, before we go any further, this is the Unstuck movement, right? This platform was created to help people find breakthrough, the perseverance, faith, strength, and authenticity to get unstuck in their life. It's brought to you by the Connected Leaders Academy. Check out connectedleadersacademy.com. This is Rachel Wayte, a renowned sound and energy healer who works with leaders and entrepreneurs to create freedom in their lives by releasing long-held traumas and limitations. She helps clients step into their greatest potential and magnetize the life that they are meant for. Rachel, what helped you step into this authentic version of yourself? Because the way you just described that is so good, right? It's so good because when you're really truly being you, you show up differently. You don't feel a fear or an apprehension for being who you are. You can feel that, and other people can feel that. And I think if somebody else is authentic around you, that kind of triggers something in them whenever you're being like that. So I just felt like I needed to say that, but I wanted to ask you for yourself, what caused you to step into your authentic self?
What caused me to step into my authentic self? So, and this may resonate with others depending on where you are in your life. I got to the point where I realized that I was about to turn, it was maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, and I was about to turn 40. And this was quite a milestone for me, I think. And I recognized that I was looking around, and I was looking around at everyone else and thinking, I was comparing myself to others, and I kept feeling like, oh, I'm not as successful as that person. I'm not as I'm not where I'm meant to be. And all that was manifesting itself inside of me in terms of frustration, feeling quite low. Actually, on the outside, it looked to others like I had it all together because I was running my own business. I had, was happily married. We have a home. We have a young daughter. So it was almost like, why does Rachel have anything to complain about? But inside, it was this whole different matter of, I knew that I was meant to be doing something more. I knew that there was more of me to come out, and it got to the point where that part of me wanted to come out, but there was a lot of fear around really revealing myself. So I can't remember what your question was now. I've gone off on one.
You
Yeah,
were
I know.
you were really on the path though. Just how did you know that you were, what was the path of you stepping into being truly you, where you felt comfortable in your own skin and you were being you?
So it got to the point where not being me, not being my authentic self, not really fully, not allowing myself to fully be who I am, was causing me to feel so stuck and so frustrated and so unhappy in my life that I had no other choice but to go on this journey, because otherwise I would have just stayed in that mesh of not feeling fulfilled, not feeling good enough, not feeling enough. And I would have just stayed stuck in an uncomfortable. It was comfortable in the sense that it was known to me. And some people stay in that comfort zone. And I understand why. It's because we know it. And even though it's not necessarily pleasant, sometimes the fear of, well, what would it be like to step out of that can really hold you back. But for me, it got so much to the point that I've got to do this now, because I can't stay where I am. I'm not happy. My finances are suffering. My business is suffering. My relationships are suffering. I need to sort this out. And that was what got me to the point of sort of going, right, I've got to go on this journey of really looking inside of me and doing the healing work to let go of my thoughts, my limitations, my sabotaging behaviors, my fears around being authentic and what people might think about that. And that's what truly led me to going, right, I've got to be me now, because I can't stay where I am.
And that's very good. And it's interesting. I think many people can relate to this. You know something's off, but you don't know what it is, right?
Right.
You know something's not quite right, but you're not quite sure what it is. Like, what's not quite right? Why can't I say the things I want to say? Why can't I do the things I want to do? Be the person that I know I need to be. And I had written a chapter in a book on this, was just the concept of there was like a real me inside of me, but I didn't know how to get that version of me out.
Yeah.
We're probably programmed like that throughout our life, some sort of conditioning that causes us to say, hey, it's not okay to be you right now. You've got to pretend and you've got to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And I've found in my life personally that can be a gift, right? So people pleasing is not a gift. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is being chameleon like can help you in many scenarios survive in those scenarios, but also what I've learned over the years can help you relate to others better, can help you see others better and show up for others better. So it's kind of a big question here, but this is the question I want to ask. How can you show up, see other people, and make them feel comfortable while still being you? Because that can be a balance, right? I found many times in my life what I did in the past was I would show up as somebody else to make that person feel okay being them, because I wanted them to feel okay, because I wanted to connect with them.
Yeah.
So how do we step out as us and make other people feel seen and feel connected?
I think it's about having compassion, isn't it? And it's about having awareness. It's not about coming out there and go, hey, look at me, aren't I amazing? I'm going to bulldoze all over everyone else and I don't care what you think. It's about sort of being yourself, allowing your positive energy out, and being compassionate and open for allowing everyone else to be who they are and where they're at, and having space and not judging anyone. We're all where we're at, and that's okay. And it's about having no judgment around other people as well. So not judging where everyone else is at, because no one's right and no one's wrong. It's so, for me, it's like this is me, and I feel like for me this is the right way for me to show up. But also when I'm interacting with others, to give them the space to be themselves and not judging them and not criticizing them or anything like that. Just allowing, because I think in you giving, what I feel is if you give yourself permission to be you, actually you in turn then allow others to give permission to be themselves. And I think energetically you will be doing that on a sort of quite a subconscious level. You will be giving permission to others to be themselves, because I feel like if you are trying to morph yourself into someone else or be something for someone else in order to make them feel okay, in a way you're holding that person back, because you're not giving them permission to be themselves. You're trying to do something in order for them to have a certain reaction, because you want them to be happy, you want them to be content. So you're turning up in a certain way, and behaving in a certain way, which you're hoping is then going to have a knock-on effect on how they behave. So you're actually trying to control someone else's behavior, which is not necessarily, you're doing it from the right place, but it's not necessarily a great thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It does. It makes a lot of sense. And it has me thinking, when we're showing up and we're trying to people please, we're doing people actually a disservice. Like when you get uncomfortable in a conversation, right? And you think, oh no, I better bend to this person so it doesn't get awkward. Like you're actually doing the conversation, yourself and that person, a disservice.
Yes.
Because it sometimes, well, yeah, a lot of conversations that are meaningful, they need to get awkward. They need to get uncomfortable. And you've got to be okay sitting in that uncomfortableness. And the only way you can get comfortable sitting in that uncomfortableness is being comfortable in who you are.
Yes.
If you're not comfortable in who you are, then you're going to be freaking out when it gets uncomfortable.
Yes. And sometimes sometimes it has to be uncomfortable, and you have to sometimes give it a bit of space as well, and know that in the discomfort, things will unfold that need to unfold.
Yeah. We have to give that time to do that.
Yeah.
So going around the idea of self-sabotage, right? So have you experienced in your life self-sabotage as you went through this journey that you've gone through? How did you hold yourself back?
So how did I hold myself back? So in terms of how I work, so as you know, people listening don't know this necessarily. I'm a sound healer, I'm an energy healer, and I use my voice in terms of a sound healer because I trained to be an opera singer. But I held myself back for a very long time because the world of opera and the world of singing actually created me to not believe in myself, to actually feel like I was a failure. I sabotaged myself in the way that I went, all right, I need to protect myself from being rejected. I need to protect myself from being hurt. I need to protect myself from experiencing rejection. So I'm just going to shut that down. I'm just going to close that down, and I'm just never going to sing again. So for 10, 15 years, I sabotaged myself because I shut down a part of me that was actually integral to who I am. And so that was a sort of a long-term sabotage until I got to the point, like I said, when I realized I needed to allow myself to be me again. I allowed bit by bit my voice to unfold again and start using my voice in the way that it was intended to help people to heal. So that's like a big sabotage, in the sense that I just went, I've got to protect myself, because this is often why we sabotage. We sabotage because for some reason we're trying to protect ourselves from being hurt, from being rejected, from failing, from being laughed at. That's generally the reason behind why we sabotage. Now, if I notice myself sabotaging, it's in terms of I will procrastinate. So I'll know there's something I'm meant to be doing to help my business to grow, to allow myself to do the next thing, and I'll procrastinate because I will put it off. I will go and find something else to do. So there are big forms of sabotage, and there are little forms of sabotage. Scrolling on social media. Sometimes I get into that too much, and I recognize, hold on, I'm going down a stream of sabotaging myself. And it comes in different forms. Some people will put things off till the last minute so that they'll sabotage. We sabotage our future quite well. We're very good at that because sometimes we're scared of the success. We're scared of it going wrong. There's many reasons why we sabotage it. But if you can get to the root of that and recognize that actually the real reason behind what you're doing is trying to protect yourself from something. When you recognize that and actually get to the point of feeling really into what am I trying to protect myself from in the past that's happened, sit with that and allow yourself to really go into forgiveness, letting that go, allowing yourself to heal from whatever happened in the past. You will find that you will no longer need to sabotage yourself as much because you're no longer fearing something that happened in the past.
Yeah. You can't be let down when you don't do the thing that's going to be difficult to do. If you don't ever take the time to do it. I find myself, what I had a realization for me was that I was sabotaging because if I waited till the last minute to do something and did it, then it was done and it was as good as it could have been because I waited till the last minute. But I
Yes.
never get to see my full potential of what it could be because I didn't put the time in beforehand to prepare myself for it. And the fear is that if I prepare myself for it and do it and I fail at it, then what does that mean compared to if I do it last minute and fail at it? That doesn't matter. I barely tried. But if you
Yes.
really tried and then you fail, that could be very hurtful and painful to your pride, right? And I
Yeah.
feel like when it comes to self-sabotage, it is a prideful thing for us. It's your ego really trying to protect you from pain and hurt. And
Absolutely.
as we go on in this journey, we realize, oh, we have to have pain. There has to be struggle, and you got to push against that to have the breakthroughs that you need to have in life and that you want to have in life. Just like those crucial conversations, those crucial things that need to get done, we've got to put the work in to do that.
Mhm.
So, how do you operate now compared to how you used to operate when it comes to procrastination, when it comes to self-sabotage? How are you different than you used to be?
So I would do things, even if they might be scary. So I if I get invited to go on stage, or if I get invited to something, I'll say yes to it. I'll say yes to doing something. And even within my business, I'll think, right, I need to do that in 2 months' time. So I'll put it out there and I'll make it clear that it's going to happen. So I won't try and plan. So some people feel like they've got to have everything perfect before they'll go and say yes and do something. I say yes, and then I get on to the doing bit. So of course, because once I've said yes to it, I then I know I'm going to do it. So I really I do things that make me uncomfortable. Like I'll do these. I don't. These aren't so comfortable for me anymore, but they used to be. Or I give myself a social media presence. I don't necessarily want to be on social media all the time, but I'll create videos. I'll put myself out there. And what I do sometimes is quite way out there. When you see, if you ever see some of my videos, it's quite like I'm healing, and I'm using light language, and I'm doing things that you wouldn't normally necessarily see, but I'm putting them out there in the public domain. And that's quite, I probably wouldn't have done that in the past because I'd have been too scared of what people might think and what they might say. But because I know that this is my purpose and this is what I'm meant to be doing, I no longer fear that there'll be some people who will say, who do you think you are, Rachel? Or they won't agree with what I'm saying. There's some people who reject me. There's some people who really don't want me in their life at all. They're just not in alignment with who I am. But I no longer allow that to stop me from being me, because I know there are some people out there who absolutely are on my wavelength and need to hear the things that I'm sharing. So I keep doing it. Even, I've had people post and people comment on my posts. They're not nice things sometimes. And yeah, at that moment, I can sometimes feel rejected. I can feel hurt. I can think, oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't do this. But I can overcome that a lot quicker now, and then actually get back on the right track.
Yeah, it's good. We have to have thicker skin. And the
Yeah.
only way to do that is to go through the thing you're supposed to be doing. You're going to get pushback, and
Mm.
we avoid pushback so much in our life, but pushback is the thing we actually need
Yeah.
to know we're heading in the right path. We need that feedback, and not all feedback is going to be something we want to hear. Really
Yeah.
good. So we got to jump into a 60-second break to shout out the sponsor of the podcast. When we come back, though, I really want to talk about, I'm very fascinated by sound healing and what
Mhm.
that means, and what you do, and your history in opera and how you use that now. So I want to discuss that in 60 seconds when we come back.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out. on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
So, Rachel, sound healing, just in a general sense, what does that mean? Let's start there.
Okay. So a lot of people have experienced some form of sound healing generally, and they will experience it through, often they'll experience it through the singing bowls that you see people using, or they'll experience it through the gongs that you hear, like a gong bath. A lot of people have sort of experienced that. I use my voice as a way of helping people to heal. Now, in terms of sound healing, how I tend to explain it, I don't explain it scientifically because I am not a scientist. If you want to go and look at the science behind it, there is a lot of books. There's a lot of things being written about it. But like we said, on being authentic, that I'm not going to start throwing out science because I'm not authentically being able to share that. How I explain it to people is, if you imagine that your body, all the cells in our body, everything within our body has its own energy. Our emotions have an energy, our cells have an energy, everything has its own energy. Everything vibrates, everything has its own frequency. And if you imagine your body like an orchestra, so when all the different parts of the orchestra are playing together, it sounds great, it sounds in tune, it sounds in harmony, doesn't it, when everyone's playing together? If there's an instrument, let's imagine that's a part of your body, that starts playing out of tune, the whole thing will start sounding weird. It won't sound in harmony, it won't sound together. So if you can imagine that sound comes in and it helps bring vibratory resonance back to all parts of the body. If there's something in your body that's not flowing like it should, maybe you've got some emotions that are blocked, maybe you've got some pain in your body, sound can really come in and start clearing what may be blocked within your body, so that your body can then start coming back in harmony with itself, bringing vibratory alignment back to your body, so everything is able to flow as it should, like an orchestra does when it's playing in tune. So it helps basically bring everything back together, and so everything flows, so your energy can flow as it should through your body, so there's nothing blocking your body from flowing.
I've seen videos, and I've wanted to do this. People, like, they get inside of like human-sized bells, and they ring the bell, and the vibration from those bells like clears them out. And they say like your cells can vibrate for like years after you're inside of one of those bells. And I find that to really be fascinating. It's very interesting. And our body is mostly water. Water carries information, right?
Yes.
So our body's carrying this information at all times. So being able to have a way of, do you ever see, there was a I don't know if he was a saint or if he was a Christian, some sort of Christian saint. Anyways, he would pray over water, and they would show the molecular structure of the water beforehand. It was like dirty water, and they'd show the molecular structure of it beforehand and after, and it would be drastically different after he prayed over it.
Yeah.
And so there is science, and like you said, I'm no scientist, right? So me trying to explain this, I know very limited information, but I do know that there's proof there. And so you can see this if you Google that, just Google that, water that was prayed over versus not prayed over. You can see the difference in it. And it sounds like you're doing the same thing of being able to heal and bless. I think it's blessing the water, which carries the vibrations inside of us. And when you're changing those frequencies, you're letting things out that have been trapped. Am I saying that right?
I love how you're explaining it. So sometimes I feel it like this. So sometimes if someone's got a lot of, let's say, repressed anger in their body, and they've never been able to let that out, they've never felt like they can express it, they've been told not, that anger's not good, we then store it up inside of us, and that is not good for the body, having repressed emotions, because that can then cause you to feel stressed. It can cause physical pain in the body. It can cause illness. It can cause all kinds of things when we repress things. So sometimes I feel, when I'm working with a client, I feel that anger deeply for them. And actually what I'm able to do with my sound is actually express that anger for them. So I'm actually voicing the anger inside of their body and helping them to release it. So when that's then released out of the body, it's a bit like the water, isn't it? If you imagine angry water, it's going to be quite dark and murky, isn't it? When you've released that, everything becomes clear, everything feels free, everything feels lighter, and you feel much more pure, you feel much more whole. So sometimes I'm bringing sounds to help remove things out of the body, and sometimes I'm doing a bit like you're describing. I'm helping to bless someone's body in love, in light. If maybe they've not experienced much love in their life, maybe they've been feeling, they feel sad, they feel down on themselves, I will sing to them literal vibrations of love that will help their body to start to believe in itself again, start to believe that they deserve love, that love is okay. So it works in two ways. It works in the sense of, let's help release something that might be stuck, an emotion, a feeling, a pain, but let's also bless somebody with my voice, with these sounds, to bring them to raise the frequency of their body, so it feels like it can receive love, it deserves love, it's worthy, it is love. It's both ways, and it's beautiful.
It makes sense why it works. Like, look what happens when you listen to music. Or if
Exactly.
you listen to dark and angry music, you get dark and angry. You don't
Yeah.
feel that great. Although it's interesting that some people, and I used to love, like like heavy metal rock,
Mm.
and I look back and I'm like, man, it doesn't make you feel good. But where I was at that time, it did make me feel good, I guess, or just made me feel more of what I wanted to feel, perhaps.
It maybe helped you feel the anger that you maybe hadn't been able to. It made you help you tune into a part of yourself that potentially you hadn't been able to feel before.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't need that now. Maybe you don't need to feel the anger the same, or whatever. So you don't go to it the same. Maybe you've changed.
Yeah, but when you listen to beautiful music, it will a 3-minute song will change your day. It changes your entire state. Like, it makes you feel different. So it makes sense why how powerful music is,
Mm.
and it makes sense why this works. I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm curious. What
You're
does
gonna
what
ask it
does
now, aren't
what
you?
does a sound of love, if you would be singing like loving
Okay.
vibration over somebody, what would that sound like?
Well, we can give it a go. I'm hoping that StreamYard allows it. So with sometimes when I'm singing, it's got to have certain settings. Otherwise, it distorts it because it thinks it's background noise. So on Zoom, I
Oh,
have to
wow.
have certain settings that allow the voice to come through. Otherwise, it will try and cut it out. So let me know if it's cutting it out. I will do this. I don't mind at all. But
Okay.
let's hope StreamYard doesn't try and block it. 'Cause sometimes when it hears music and singing, it thinks it's background noise, and it shuts it down.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Okay, so let me know. All right. So to anyone here watching, and you as well, Rob, I just want you to maybe close your eye. Obviously, you're listening. You might just be listening on the audio. Just close your eyes. Just relax your body. And I'm just going to bring through some frequencies of love. I want you to feel like you can really receive these on a deep, 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 deep level. So just try and put out of your mind the thoughts of how this should be or what this should sound like, and just to allow this to just to penetrate where it needs to for you today. This is going to go where you need it within you. I am love. I am love. I am love. Could you hear that okay? Could you feel that?
Yes, I heard it and I felt it.
Mm,
I feel significantly calmer.
yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. So it's the
I
intention.
got like goosebumps.
Yeah. Because there's a beautiful, loving intention behind it. I feel it, and I allow it to express itself through my voice. And that's why I'm blessed that I did train to be a singer, because I can bring that emotion through the voice.
Yeah. That's
Mm.
incredible. Um, I could see how that would be very healing for somebody.
It is.
So when you work with somebody,
Mm,
you'll choose how to sing for
yeah.
them to whatever it is, so you can differentiate between what they need, and you'll sing that way.
So in that way, it works very intuitively. I can feel in. So when it's private work, when it's one to one, I can feel what that particular person needs, what that client needs. And then when it's a group setting, then I set an intention behind what the group healing is going to be about, and I trust that what comes through me, each person receives individually what they need from what I am bringing through. So this works one to one, and this works in groups of 10, 20, hundreds of people. It can work, and everyone, I always feel like everyone receives it on the level that they are ready to receive it on that day when they are listening to it.
I'm gonna be honest with you right now. I have like a slight pain in my hip that was bothering me
Mhm.
this morning, and I don't feel it right now. And I could feel whenever you were singing, I could feel it in that region of my body, kind of like
Because
breaking it
that's
up.
where your body needed it. That's where your body needed it today. Your body needed it was a bit stuck, it was a bit stiff, it was a bit sore. So your body, right, said, I need that frequency to go there within my body. Someone else will have heard exactly what I've just done right now, and they will have needed it because they felt sad in their heart and they've been feeling low and they've been feeling depressed, or they will have felt it there.
It's sad to me to think that for so many years you held this in and didn't
Mm,
let it out
mm,
because you were afraid that
mm.
it was not the right thing when, as I imagine it's very healing for you also. This has to be a very healing experience for you.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's one of the most when I can do something like this and I can bless so many people, I can be in front of people and I can just allow this out. It's like the most, for me, it's so uplifting, and it brings me joy. It brings me so much. And I think that's what was happening because I wasn't doing that. I was not happy because I wasn't allowing this expression of myself out.
Mhm. Clearly, I'm a Christian. You see the cross behind me, and I think not. I know God creates us and gives us gifts. Like we all have our own unique gifts,
Yeah.
and if we don't use those gifts, it feels like we're dying, right? If
Yes.
God put something inside of us, I have a
Mm,
gift. I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be giving this to the world. If I'm not doing it, then it's like it's torture to not
yeah.
do it. So
Mm,
giving people that freedom to do that is such a beautiful thing. And just I think just with yourself, just the fact that you're willing to do that and capable and open to just singing like that is so
mm,
freeing because of your vulnerability. Number one, that people see that, but also
yeah.
the singing and the vibration that's coming through on that is helping them heal. It's
It's helping them.
incredible.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you feeling that and actually understanding it and getting it as well, and feel comfortable talking about it and sharing about it.
So say as obviously somebody can get a hold of you, right? They can go to rachelwayte.com and reach out to you and talk to you. What if somebody maybe they just are like stuck in a place they can't talk to you at that current point in time, but they're feeling really off? What can they do? Can they sing to themselves? Can they
Oh,
find music online? Like what would you recommend somebody do if like they're in a pinch?
yeah. So I was in a pinch, like you're saying. And the thing that really, and I hope whoever's listening hears this, realizes that what I realized was that I think I was waiting for someone to come and rescue me. I was waiting for someone to come and sort me or and help me out. I didn't realize that I had this, even if you're feeling really low right now and you're in a dark place, what I want people to realize is that you do have this within you to be able to get yourself out of this, even though you might not feel like it, that you do. And I think it's about just doing one small thing at a time. um, so giving yourself, first of all, acknowledging that you are where you are, and to accept. Sometimes it's just a matter of accepting this is where I am right now, and that's okay. Like there's nothing. I am feeling what I'm feeling, and that's okay. Because sometimes just acknowledging it can really help you go, okay, I don't have to fight this. I don't have to try and pretend I'm not feeling this. I'm just going to give myself permission to feel this feeling of being stuck. And I think sometimes just giving yourself permission to feel that is huge. You're not trying to push it away. And then it's about doing those little small things that bring you, that can start to light you up. And it might sound really simple, but for me, it was about, I gave myself every morning a bit of space to connect. For me, it was meditation. It doesn't mean you have to suddenly go off and spend 40 minutes meditating every morning. Just give yourself 5 minutes just to sit in the peace and the quiet and give yourself space. It's literally about doing these little small incremental things that will help shift your energy and help you get unstuck. For me, it was, I committed to myself. So I started doing bits of exercise. I started going outside more. It's really simple things, going out in nature. And people think, oh, I haven't got time to do that. If you want to create some change in your life, that comes to a point where you have to decide, I'm going to commit to myself. And you will find that 5 minutes, you will find that 10 minutes, you will find that 20 minutes, you will find it if you really want to, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought now. It's about giving yourself permission to take care of yourself and not feeling like you have to put everyone else first, about, putting yourself at the bottom and making sure that everyone else is okay, making sure everyone else is sorted, making sure that, because then your life is just on this conveyor belt and you're just doing and you're not existing, you're not living. So it really is about just going, honestly, hold on a moment. I'm just going to realize that I'm in a bit of a state right now, and I'm going to begin to look at what is it that I can do for myself that's going to start helping me get out of this state that I am in. Meditation, walking, connecting with friends, going, speaking to people that light you up, listening to music that fills you up, finding things, there are if you can't invest in anything right now, there's so many things you can find on YouTube that will help. There are free things that you can begin to do to help you on that trajectory of getting out of it. But it really is about deciding to commit to yourself and doing something about it.
Do you help train people who maybe they are a singer, or they want to be a singer and they want to help people with their voice, but they don't have that confidence? Do you help people with that too?
Interesting question. Not as yet. So I don't train people to be singers, but what I often do in the work,
I shouldn't have said train them to be singers, but maybe they are a good singer, but they would love to use their voice for a higher purpose.
Yeah. So it's not just when a lot of clients come to me, I help them embrace and unlock the gifts that are inside of them. So if their gift is singing, then when they come to me, I'm going to help them. I'm not going to teach them how to sing. What I will do is help them unlock and remove anything that's holding them back from allowing that out. And I will help strengthen that for them. It might be that someone else wants to speak on stage. It might be that someone else has other people have other gifts. So what I help them to do is actually embrace what their gifts are and help them feel safe growing and expanding into those and bringing those gifts out into the world. And that is what I do. So it's about helping them really step into and identify what their gifts are and enhance them and grow into them and feel safe in that expansion, in that growth of them being themselves and bringing those gifts to the world.
I love it. It's really great what you do. If they want more information about you, they can go to your website, which is right there, Rachel Wayte, WAYTE.com. It's also in the show notes for this episode if you're listening via audio. Anything you want to leave the audience with before we sign off?
Just thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen, to listening, and also to embracing what I'm saying, and to just go, you are the most valuable person in your life, and to remember that, and not to, put yourself, it's not about being selfish, because I think sometimes when you put yourself first, when you work on yourself, when you do this work of being you and allowing your authentic self out, you show up in the world in such a different way that you're giving permission to other people to shine. And so actually, that's what I want to leave people with, the fact that you are the most important person, because by you doing that, you're giving permission to others to be the most important person in their life. And in that way, we can really create a really beautiful ripple effect in the world.
Absolutely. I love that. Rachel, this has been wonderful. Thank you for being a part of the Unstuck movement.